This is a really special gathering because of the kind of people that are in the room today. We have journalists and policymakers and decision makers and community leaders and scientists from around North Carolina and other places, all with the goal of trying to begin to anticipate what is to come, because we know that the next storm will come. According to NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, since 1980, the United States has experienced 241 weather and climate disasters that each have caused $1 billion in costs and damages. And the total estimated cost of all 241 of those events is $1.6 trillion. In 2018 alone, 3 events, the California wildfires, Hurricane Michael, and then also Hurricane Florence, caused $73 billion in losses and 208 deaths. Each year, the World Economic Forum does a poll to understand what are the major global risks, and they do a global risk report. And so they poll 1,000 decision makers, civic leaders, scientists, folks from the public and the private sector to understand how they see what kind of risks are facing the world. And in 2019, they identified extreme weather, failure to mitigate or adapt to climate change, and natural disasters as among the top risks facing the world. So far this year, if we think about damage to infrastructure, in the first 6 months of 2019, we've had, and this is a very lowballed cost, at least over $1 billion in damage to infrastructure in the United States. And this includes damage to bridges, roads, utilities, water facilities, public buildings, equipment, parks, all of that public infrastructure that helps us function as communities. And you've probably been paying attention, the flooding that we've had out, especially in the Midwest, and what's happened there. The point here is, the upshot is that North Carolina is but a microcosm of what is happening globally, right? It's not just us. These are things that are happening all over the world right now. So I want to applaud the capable individuals that had the foresight to pull together this event today, and for you all taking the time to attend this, to think more proactively about what we are going to do when this next storm comes. So as you know, hurricane season is already upon us. Hurricane season started on June 1st and allegedly ends on November 30th. The number of major storms, if you saw the news last week, or maybe it was the week before, has just been upped. So every year there's an estimate of how many named storms will take place during this year's hurricane season. Initially, that estimate was between 9 and 15, and just last week it was up to 10 to 17. So an estimated 10 to 17 named storms, and that's due basically to a weakening El Nino effect. North Carolina, as many of you know, has a storied history with hurricanes. We can go all the way back to Hazel. We can think about Fran and Floyd and Florence and Matthew. And for those of you who are paying attention, you may be wondering, what is the named F storm for this year? It's Fernand. And I think that sounds like a really tame one. So let's all cross our fingers and hope that's certainly the case, because North Carolina needs a break this year from the Fs. There are many in our communities and throughout North Carolina who are dreading what could await them this year. You can see it in people's faces if you go to Carteret County. And I'm sure the same is true in Princeville and Lumberton and many other places throughout our state. We are dealing with the cumulative effects that come with these storms, and they have enormous effects on our communities and our emergency responders. The repeated flooding, the repeated losses, and the repeated trauma all deplete our collective resiliency. Disasters are equal in the fact that they do impact everyone, but they also discriminate. We know that those who are most vulnerable, the poor, the disenfranchised, the disabled, and the elderly, suffer the greatest in these events. And they continue to suffer long after those of us with more resources have been able to recover. So there are many reasons for us to be paying attention right now, because while the coming storm is something we need to anticipate, we are still recovering from the last storm and the storm before that as well. Much of my own research deals with wildfire. And much like hurricanes every year, we wait in anticipation and dread for these wildfires to occur. And this year has been a really quiet year for wildfires. It's been much, much less intense than the last couple of years. And that actually comes with risks of its own. We grow complacent because county and municipal and state level officials all have many other pressing demands on their time. You know, emergency management and disasters are but one of several issue areas in competition for their attention. And in this way, the urgent and the immediate sometimes squeezes out the important. And that's what makes today all the more remarkable, is that what has drawn all of us here together today is a belief that we can prepare better so that we can respond more effectively and recover more effectively to this next storm. And we need to get better at anticipatory planning, anticipating what's to come. Our data all look backwards for the most part. We plan based on historical trends, not on what the future basically has in store for us. So how many years in a row have we witnessed an event that happens in a 100-year floodplain, right? What we really need to be thinking about are 500-year floodplains and 1,000-year floodplains. The challenge with that for us and the way we make decisions is that we're not very good at dealing with uncertainty, and it's that level of uncertainty that we need to get more comfortable with as we move forward. We're just not good at that. We know that the storms we are experiencing today are different. Because the ocean is warming, we have more moisture in the air. And that means when we have more moisture in the air, it means we receive more rain when these storms come. In some cases, these storms are moving more slowly, and that increases the chance for flooding. We also know that storm surges come in now at higher baselines, and that also causes more flooding. So we need to account for these changing dynamics in everything that we're doing as we look forward and anticipate what is around the corner for us instead of looking back over our shoulder in what's been behind us. We need to learn from these disasters about where to build, about how to educate others, about where we're living. And no matter what you hear today, one of our biggest challenges is basically that the changes that are taking place around us are coming at us faster than we can adapt to them. We desperately need to get smarter faster. And so that's something that I charge you with today. We know things are changing, and in all likelihood, they will continue to change at a very rapid pace, given what we're witnessing. Luckily, we have folks here today, in this room, with the best local and scientific knowledge to help us do just that. They are here to share with us their hard-fought and won experience and expertise to help us understand how to do this better. And at a time when science and what it can do to contribute to improving our lives is being called into question, I think that you will find today that science can provide a deeper understanding as to why we encounter the damaging effects from storms, what we can do to prepare for them, what are the consequences from them, how we might begin to prevent more severe impacts from them, and how to recover more effectively from them. And tempering that science are the very real experiences of our elected officials, advocates, nonprofit representatives, members of the press, and government agencies. You are the folks that are out there on the front lines reporting and experiencing this and helping us recover on a day-to-day basis, helping us to continue through what has been the aftermath of Matthew and Florence, among other things, among other events. So together, you all, you practitioners and you academics that are here today have much to offer us as we contemplate how to build greater resilience to this next coming storm. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today, and I look forward very much to everything that will transpire. So thank you.